Ragnarok, literally translated as the Doom of the Gods, is a series of future events predicted by ancient Norse writings, said to bring about and involve a final battle between Odin's mighty kingdom and the powers of hell. The very principalities that weave our cosmos into shape will take part in an epic clash of chaos that even they cannot survive. All of existence will be torn asunder. Death will rise, and the universe will be nothing forevermore. Yeah, right. Hello, I'm Tyler, this is the Imaginary Axis, and in case you didn't hear, the Asgardians are one of the most powerful races in all 9 realms of the cosmos. They and everything in their dimension are stronger and more formidable than what you'll typically find in the conventional universe. They have enchantments that can heal wounds, read minds, manipulate spirits, see through all of time and space, shatter galaxies, and of course make hammers that practically nobody can lift. It's only appropriate that throughout the years they've been worshipped as gods by species like ours. I mean, when you see an old man in the sky who can bend reality by waving his hand, you aren't left with many options. Odin has a sword that can destroy the universe just by being unsheathed. How much more can the human mind comprehend? Apparently, not enough. Because while the Allfather can effortlessly contain enough mystical fire to devour creation, tear an entire universe out of the space-time continuum and seal it away, fight a dark entity that's casually erasing the cosmos, he's not omnipotent. There are powers higher than him. Asgardians make mistakes. They can be hurt. They can die. And I'm not just talking about the comic book versions either. This has always been the tragedy of the Norse gods. They might be powerful, but they fear death just like everybody else. In fact, it's a common theme that Odin is desperate to avoid Ragnarok. Whether you're reading Marvel Comics or Poetic Edda, that is like at the top of his to-do list. Whatever happens, he doesn't want to die. Which is dumb, right? I mean, as far as we know, death is inevitable. Humans have gotten pretty good at either accepting it or not thinking about it, so what kind of comic book adaptation of a pantheon-leading god king sits around worrying about the end when he lives in a mystical outer space utopia, exceeds our lifespans by thousands of years, and has enough power to tear at the very fabric of the multiverse during battle? Seriously, check your privilege, dude. I know I'm gonna die someday, and you don't see me constantly worrying about it. But Ragnarok is a bit of a bigger problem than Odin's death. The earliest manuscripts we have discussing the Ragnarok prophecies tell of everything's death. An exact layout for how the final battle of creation will go, complete with world-ending giants, a serpent that wraps around the earth, a wolf that devours the sun, and a fiery blade that burns everything else to ashes. It turns out the ancient Norse and Marvel's writing staff both had very similar ideas for what a battle between gods would do to everything else. So we should all be trying to stop this, right? I might have been a little harsh on Odin earlier for fearing death, but we aren't without self-preservation. Even as we speak, biologists are studying why we age, focusing on how to make us younger. In a way, the plight of the gods is completely human. If we had a way to live forever, we would. And if we thought the universe was in danger, we would do everything in our power to save it. Right? Well, you can. I'm not going to. Because you see, that's the thing about Ragnarok. The gods hype it up like it's some big, terrifying event. Oh no, the universe is in danger, but it never is. Ragnarok is 100% hype, 0% substance. Not what I expect from my epic, cosmos-defying battles. It's not even really the doom of the gods. Some variations call it the twilight of the gods. Notice how the spelling looks exactly the same? That's because to the gods, the end of the universe, or Asgard, or whatever interpretation you're reading, is just like your everyday, boring day and night cycle. The sun rises, creation starts. Afternoon eventually, normal life. Twilight, confusing, world-ending battle, and night. Everything's dead. But what happens after enough nighttime? Oh look, there's the sun again! Now we can start all over. That's right, I don't care about whatever adventure Thor and Loki or whoever are going on, because it's already happened 1,000,000 times. Literally! I'm not making this up. You know how we perceive time linearly? Like a sort of stick with one event happening after another, beginning, middle, and end? Well, the ancient Norse viewed time like a circle. There is no beginning, middle, or end. Here's Ragnarok, here's creation, and after the gods inevitably kill each other, they're just born again, humanity rises again, the planets are recreated, stars reignite. What was even the point? And just so nobody accuses me of pulling out random history facts to make an irrelevant statement about a comic book character who's clearly different from his mythological counterpart, this is 100% canon in the Marvel Universe. That's right, this guy right here that you call Thor, he isn't even close to the first god to use that name. This also isn't the first Loki, this isn't the first Odin, and pretty much everything you know about the Asgardians is a lie. These guys have died countless deaths and been reborn countless times. How many times is countless? Who knows? Time is cyclical. But at least 23. Thor first discovered this horrible truth when consulting the prophetic eye of his father, who revealed to him that by going back far enough in his mind, he could tap into the dormant memories of his previous life and the previous Asgard. Who knows how long he, his family, and his friends have been dancing on the cosmic stage. This is one of the major themes of Norse mythology. Just as the present cosmos was represented by the great tree Yggdrasil, the past was represented by a great well, the Well of Erd, which the tree grew out of. The past influences the growth of the present, just as the great well influences the growth of the tree. But unlike our currently widespread linear concept of time, the Norse did not continue this picture, with the tree somehow influencing some other thing that stood for the future. Instead, after the waters of the past flowed through the tree of the present, the tree would eventually produce dew that fell back into the well. The past shapes the present, and the present somehow shapes the past, which shapes the present, which shapes the past, and we're stuck in a cycle. Like Ragnarok. You can actually still see the influence of this mindset in the English language today. Notice how we have ways of saying actions that occurred in the past. I ran. Actions that are occurring presently, I run, but not actions that are occurring in the future. We say, I will run, which is just a plan to run. With no actual future, I say, who cares about Ragnarok? It has no consequences. If Thor fails and dies, who cares? He'll just be reborn and try again later. If Asgard is burnt to ashes, who cares? It'll be back in no time. How do I know? It's already happened. In fact, it's almost enough to make you wonder about Odin's obsession with finally subverting it. The Asgardian dream is essentially to change the flow of time, to progress. And there are some universes out there in which they succeed. Odin or Thor or somebody finally puts an end to Ragnarok once and for all. But do we really want that? There is some freedom in the idea that what we do now might affect where we came from rather than where we're going. And before you just decide the Norse didn't know what they were talking about, this really isn't something you can disprove. All of our science and math works fine with nonlinear time. Some of the more complex theories even prefer it. We know time is relative depending on where you are in the universe, and we account for that in designing things like GPS satellites. Some people have even suggested that time might be an illusion altogether. The fact that we seem to experience it linearly and think that things will happen later based on what we're doing right now might be completely arbitrary. So the Norse proposition that we're all in a cycle is unfalsifiable. History could have rewritten itself 5 minutes ago based on something you did just now. And what I really love about this is how Marvel takes that concept and runs with it. Thor and the Asgardian gods themselves are, at times, said to be a product of mankind's myths. As if belief now about what happened long ago can make that past a reality. So I understand the desire to break out of a cycle. I'm sorry for being rude to Odin earlier, his concerns make sense. Forging your own destiny is a brave thing to strive for. But forging your own past may be just as exciting. So I propose we sit this cycle out. Let Ragnarok happen. Because time repeating itself isn't that bad as long as your actions are affecting something. And if you're going to be stuck in a story repeating itself over and over and over again, it might as well be a good one. Hey, thanks for watching all the way through my video. If you enjoyed it and would like to see more content like this in the future, please subscribe. But I think that kind of goes without saying these days. So you can also follow me on Twitter at Tyler@TheAxis. And in just a few minutes I'll have some related videos on the screen that you can check out too. Meanwhile, I know some returning fans are going to have questions for me like, where have you been? Are you dead? What happened to the videos you had planned for November? And I'd rather not explain it at all, really. There was some personal stuff going on that I'd rather not talk about. But don't worry, I'm fine, and not dead. I'll see you soon, have a fantastic day, and hopefully my next video won't need one of these in-discussion things.